Hey everybody. After some soul searching, I felt like I wanted to make a video. Of course, this last 3 or 4 years, I've probably been more vocal about politics than I ever have before. I mean, my grandmother used to say at the dinner table, if Jesus or the president weren't there, then we weren't going to talk religion or politics, and that's for good reason. I mean, those are very touchy subjects, and I get that. Everybody has a right to to have their beliefs, and it doesn't make any of us bad human beings. And that is at the core of why I've been so vocal, is because that has been the change in the narrative. Is for the first time, I think, in all political history, in my opinion, there has been more divisive rhetoric, and it's now exploded from both sides. Never before in the rhetoric would you hear one side say that another side was un-American. They wouldn't seek to tell voters that, hey, the other side hates you or thinks you're un-American. It's gone to a personal level. And I get that we're frustrated, we're fed up. First of all, let's be clear. I think most Democrats would agree with me. We're not trying to take everybody's rights for guns. And when I say we, I'm an independent. But we as Americans, well, let's get back to looking at it for what we all are. None of us think abortion is good. None of us want death panels. This habit we've gotten into, where we're going to accuse our neighbors of being baby murderers that like it, or people that want to just kill old people, or they want to take all our guns and our rights away, is nonsense. And I think we all know that. I really hope we all do. I hope we know that there's not a conspiracy and there's not some evil murderers, And I get people's, values. But again, I don't think the debate is about whether or not we think it's good to kill babies or not, or whether it's good to have guns or not, or any of these things. It's just a difference on prioritizing and then how we go about resolving the problems. And one thing is for sure, it has to be a compromise that we can all live with. And so we have to get over ourselves for the sake of our nation, and let me say this clearly, for the sake of our children. For the sake of our children. Now, for those of you who have kids, when you raised your kids, did you say to them, now listen, at all costs, you need to keep making more money, all right? I don't care, what your friend says or who you're around. You pull out all stops, and there is no mercy. Say what you got to say, do what you got to do to make that money, because that's what's most important. Now, raise your hand, any of you, if that's the way you raised your kids. Because that's what we're saying as America. We can debate whether the economy is better under Trump. I mean, I'm not going to give any president credit for the economy because it's such a slow, sluggish thing with so many variables that affect it. I'm not going to make anybody the salvation of it. Now, yes, they have an influence on it, absolutely. And no, I don't know how much of it's Trump's doing and how much of it's going to stick or what. That's neither here nor there, because when I leave this earth, based on my conservative views, money ain't going to help me. Ain't going to help me at all. My political views are not going to help me. What did I do for my neighbor? How often did I step outside of myself? And did I carry myself with respect and integrity and dignity? Or did I feel the need to say the most asinine, outlandish things and feel justified in doing it? Did I feel that was the answer to the problems that we face? When we live in a world where kids get shot up in a school and, somebody politicizes it and says, I think it's fake. I think it's fake and the liberals They made it up. Somewhere is a parent with a deceased child that has to hear that. And this same person, now this is something that I actually saw, is a proclaimed follower of Christ. I think you need to rethink your core faith-based morals when you can do that. There is nothing so pressing that it is dire that you be hateful, that you be thoughtless or heartless. That's what my issues are with our current president. He is not led by unity. He is not led by, dare I say it, because I know you guys hate this word, hope. He is led by inflammatory rhetoric and anger. So, this is my deal. It's okay if you feel that, politicizing pandemics, not assuming responsibility for anything, going out of your way to not affect the big issues, but to chase down a president and try to prove that he wasn't born in America, or if you think that using the tax system and loopholes so that you can make millions off of real estate deals through those loopholes and not need to disclose your taxes to us, if you think that's the outsider that needs to come to D.C. and drain the swamp, you need to go back and read history. Millionaires and lawyers, that's been the pretty much makeup of that office. We need working class people, real people in D.C. if you're wanting to talk about the politics, but we can debate that all day. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, when did we start making it okay under any circumstances to let our president say the hateful things he says, to go after a 16-year-old with Asperger's syndrome because she got the Time magazine cover that she didn't ask for? I don't care if you don't believe in global warming. That's not what we're talking about. Focus. Anybody that knows about Asperger's, take the time to look it up. For any child with Asperger's to actually be able to do the things that young lady had done is remarkable, and kudos to her. I don't care what she's talking about. But no, that wasn't the case. To talk about a POW, when a conservative veteran has to use his funeral to make a point, there's something really seriously wrong that we need to all recognize. We can be angry. We can want change. We can invite all the outsiders in. I can give you a whole list of Republicans I'd be glad to vote for before Biden. But nobody gets to sit in my house, your house, and carry themselves that way. Now, you can be happy as a nationalist kind of mentality with the whole world looking at us and being disappointed, but I'm not happy with it. And you can accuse me of being a socialist, and I don't agree with that either. I don't believe in a lot of those entitlements. But we both sides, need to realize that the Nazi Party was a concept by Adolf Hitler called socialist nationalism. Wow. Coinky dink. We have got to get back to being good humans. Nothing is so pressing about our economy, which especially with all that we're going through, that we can't stop and go, what am I thinking? Would I tell my children to carry themselves this way? Because that's what we're doing. So, I get, maybe you think Trump is Superman. Great, that's fine. Any other time, that's fine. I'd encourage you, go vote for Superman. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. But, had I known, I think I'd rather have that lying woman of a legacy in office, other than the things I've seen and heard. And by the way, when did Donald Trump become so popular? When did any of you think he was God's gift to mankind? I've grown up my whole life watching that man, and he's never been really something to be admired. I mean, yeah, everybody likes to show because we love our tigers and lions and you're fired and reality stuff. But this is reality. This is real reality. It's affecting people. People are dying. I'm not saying it's Trump's fault, but it requires a careful deliberation. It requires somebody who feels the weight of their office. And it transcends politics, and they start thinking more broader. Look at George W. I did not like that man when he first ran. But that office, it matured him. It made him wiser. That's because he took it to heart. Can you really say, from all that's gone on, and let's ignore the fact that the Democrats have done their share. I'm talking about the one man in office who's had 4 years to kind of live and learn, maybe change a few things. Has he changed? No. He's had numerous cabinet members. And don't say these are people that, you know, they were upset. Come on now. People recognize that this has been a test of the Constitution. It's been a test of the American fabric as a society, because we're called United States for a reason. And this is not one of them. Our children are watching. The world is watching. And so let me say this, you know. My feelings not going to be hurt if he wins. I mean, all these other people can keep forgetting. They keep saying, oh, he's not going to win, and he won. Oh, he's going to be impeached, and he didn't. So, wouldn't surprise me if he wins. But he's your elected official, and you need to call him out. Either way. Because there are other people that live in this country besides you. Not everybody wants this hateful rhetoric. No. Sorry. It's not the way I was raised. It's not what my interpretation of my faith says. The ball's in your court. It's been in your court for 4 years. How much more anger? How much more vile rhetoric? How much more divide? Before you realize that's not the solution. It's never the solution. Just saying. And by the way, for everybody, Democrats and Republicans, God has sent nobody in politics to do the will of the people. Not in the sense of like sending Christ, okay? Yeah, God sent me, He sent you, He sent us all to do something. But if you think, any elected official is God sent, you need to be careful with that sentiment. Our grandfathers and our relatives fought and died, stormed Normandy to beat a man down who they weren't even aware at that point how sick he was in the head. Went by the name of Adolf Hitler. Now, I know I'm not even going to say there's a comparison. There's not. What there is a comparison, though, is the naivety of the German people and their inability to assume responsibility for their part of the problems and to share their part of the successes, but instead fall victim to the idea that they could just put the onus of responsibility and blame on one people, and that was the Jewish people. We have to be careful doing that, because much of what I hear in the rhetoric, it sounds vaguely familiar to that kind of mentality.